Is really very special because both of these artists are colleagues who work with us in this building, and it's a joy and a thrill to see their creative side as well as their extraordinarily hard-working side in the building. And may I also say it's a great pleasure to open this exhibition, Páraic Breathnach. He's very busy at the moment because he's got a play opening on Tuesday week in Páraic. In fact, it's an important occasion as well because it represents the reopening of the Páraic, the first ever production in the new Páraic. And the building alone is worth going to see. Breathnach's play is definitely worth going to see. So I'm trying to put some bums on seats here. So would you please welcome Páraic Breathnach?
It's good water comes in or get staff to the t-shirt, but being fighting the speaker room, August being Allen on the ball, August Yellow, the shop, August being Cora, August Bree, August Porton, August Seal, August Funyam, because I should feel how it's always a pleasure for me to walk the doors of Kenny's. There's always a great welcome. There's always art, there's books, there's chat, there's conversation, there's conflict and resolution goes on here. And I was going to on Bert Allen to the Gubbers of Rignam show, because it's more, it seemed to the Gould and Tomacum. People say, Joker, won't you, the Allen of the Valley. Also, two artists here working in the building, and I find it extraordinary that many times to make any art, considering how hard they work here. So fair play. And I believe that you know, that the gentlemen in question here have responsibilities as well, besides other than art and work. So fair play to you, you do a great job. I think that when I was, in some ways I was saying to Dean, I was saying, his work reminds me of Impressionism, so I was trying to think, how would you do an impressionistic opening of an exhibition? Because time we broke down all these formal labels and titles of art. But the interesting thing he said to me was, I would paraphrase Rodin, he said like that, why can't art be beautiful? Why can't art have a function of beauty in a world that there's so much misery and so much ugliness in it? And why can't art have that function? And there's no reason why not. I think in some ways that the intellectual process of art has disappeared in the usual place over the last 70 or 80 years. So it's a delight for me to come in here and to see two young artists actually using paint and technique and intelligence to put something on walls, because I'm fed up with the concepts. So it's wonderful to have actually craft and skill and talent, and indeed there is an abundance of craft, skill and talent and intelligence and inspiration working with these two artists in this room. I am particularly pleased to see the development of Dean's work. Dean is a gentleman I've known for a good few years, and I've been enchanted by his work ever since I ever saw the first drawing he did up in Machness years ago for some old parade or something. And I'm really delighted to see this. And he's talked to himself about being a less stressful art, an art that loosened him up from the confines of his education in art, and the detail and the collage and the power of image upon image. Maybe now he has separated away some of those images and to be more, I would say, more honest in some ways, less intellectual, more impressionistic, more emotional, and indeed that's captured tremendously. I think this is one of the best paintings and the best title of painting I've seen in recent years is To Ballylochan then. You know, I don't know where you imagine the other one. I'm mixing them up. Which one am I mixing up? What's the name of that one? Bowling Green. Bowling Green. Where's Ballylochan now? Irish, sure, what you from the corner home is what, please. Oh, there we are, we're grand, so. No, it's just that notion that you can reconnect with the town you live in, and that it can be reinvented. And in some ways, this is what the Impressionists did to Paris at the end of the last century, or the century before, I forget which one it was, back there a while back anyway. The Impressionists represented us Paris, and in some way, Dean, you have done a tremendous thing here in reinventing Galway for us. I don't know where you got the sunshine to colour your painting. That's the imagination of the artist, surely. And the technique of the artist. You use paint in such a free and colourful way. I congratulate you. It's an extraordinary development from the last work you were doing, and in a short period of time, I don't really know where you get the hours, because it's a tremendous work, and as I said, it's a welcome development from the intensity of your previous work, and indeed it will add pleasure to people's lives for a long, long time to come. The nicest painting exhibition I've seen in a long time. Congratulations. Let's move over here to a man that's doing a very important thing. We're talking here about the world we're in today with problems and recession and difficulties. We're talking about a man that sees painting as a way of healing, a way of understanding, a way of coming to terms and dealing with pain. And that's extraordinary, because art has that function. And it's often forgotten that art essentially has a transformative function. That art can transform people's lives, can change people's lives, can make their lives more bearable, more understanding. And when you look at the strong image over here of the mountain of shoes under the shadow of Páraic, which is inspired by a visit to Auschwitz with some relations of his in Poland, I have to say that is transformative. That's giving us our space, our strength in Páraic. We believe in the pure mountain, the spiritual mountain, and then we have a mountain of shoes thrown up against it, which is an essential reminder of the evil of man and the capability that evil that man has. And in some ways, we can understand those two things. The spiritual mountain of beauty that we all admire and make pilgrims to and feel better for it, and the world of shoes that is an eternal symbol of the evil of man. And to put those two things together is in the direction of healing. Well done. And then to take further, to take those symbols of the Madonna, and the Madonna here on the gold leaf background. It always amazes me when I go to Europe and I visit churches, to be all the money that's spent in gold leaf. I don't know what the obsession that the Roman Catholic Church had with gold leaf, but I think it was about, we have everything and you have nothing, sort of idea. But it's great that somebody's reclaiming those symbols back. I often complain that organised religion has taken what people like a Madonna, a young woman, a pure, virginal young woman, and have claimed that we're the only crowd that do this now. You can't touch this. So it's great to be stealing back symbols and reinterpreting symbols. And it's very powerful work, and an intellectually challenging work, an important work. More important even in the symbol of these black birds. There's one where the bird is falling. Where's that? The one here, yeah, just here in the corner. The symbol there, the bird falling, which is again, we're back at the area of death, but we're also back in the Morrigan, the old goddess, the old black goddess that stood on Cuchullin's shoulder at the moment of his death and started picking the guts out of his belly and said, I have you now. She's the same God having persuaded him to go into battle in the first place. So in some ways, it's great to see that continuity, I can't pronounce that word. Continuity. The English language is great. Continuity of carrying on, where so a young artist feels entitled to take on such an ancient symbol as the Morrigan and make it its own. And that very simple print there of the bird dropping certainly gives us that sense of how fragile, how passing our lives are. How we are here this moment, and we may not be here the next. Well done, fair play to you. And to finish up here, the best named painting that I've ever heard of. The God-forsaken field. And I know I'm making fun of that because, you know, as a small farmer in the west of Ireland, my grandfather used to always give out about a particular field that flooded and drained and wouldn't do anything, and there was no good ever to be got out of it. But that's not the field we're talking about here. I suspect we're talking about some sort of Auschwitz type field here, somewhere where terrible things happens, somewhere where God forsake. It's very powerful, and the linear nature of it in some ways give some sense of the intelligence behind that, the mathematics, the actual organisation that it took to create a God-forsaken field. So that's really well done. Fair play to you. I'd go on all night. I could take every one of these paintings and write a treatise on them, but I've got to go back to rehearsal. So, but that said, this is a delightful exhibition. In the dark and the light. Are you come with me? Yeah? What you say? Anyway, I just flicked to my nose because I missed anything. What I like about this exhibition, as I said, was it's nice to see the dark and the light. It's nice to see Dean, you know, cutting loose with paint and colour and doing it so exceptionally well. And it's nice to see another man, Shane here, using his intelligence to go into the darkness and trying to find an understanding for the darkness and to give us an understanding of the darkness so that we may heal, so that we may understand the nature of our humanity, that we may understand the nature of horror in our world, so that we can be comfortable with our world. So we have here the therapy to stay comfortable, and we have here the colour to stay alive. It's a great exhibition. Thank you.
And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your attention. Just please enjoy the exhibition. And by the way, we take cash. Thank you very much indeed. Not at all, guys. Now we get some stickers.
It's time to go now to make it cheesy toast.
The